So, after graduating high school, finally, it was quite the struggle. I was very proud of myself for doing it. I tried to sign up for community college, but my math classes and scores weren't that high, so I had to take rudimentary college math classes, and uh, college was just a whole lot different from what I was expecting. I didn't really prepare for it. I Neither of my parents are college graduates, and since I kind of cut myself off from my friends, I didn't really uh, have much help besides what little research I did. I thought if I could survive community college, I could go on to a bigger and better university. But about 2 years passed, and I realized how expensive even community college was. And I felt really guilty for making my dad pay for it, so I tried to get a job. And my 20s were basically just me failing job after job. The longest job I had was at that frickin' popcorn store in the mall. All of the jobs paid minimum wage. The popcorn store, I think, paid me the most at maybe $9 an hour. And I was expected to do everything: cook, clean, cashier work, filling out online orders, selling, and preparing big company orders because people would order popcorn for parties, because who doesn't want popcorn at their party? I think I stayed at the popcorn place for almost 3 years, but the stress got to me. I started working overtime, and my boss was angry at that because the popcorn store was kind of just a mom and pop shop. They didn't really have enough money to pay even their more devoted employees overtime. I made a few new friends while I worked at the popcorn place, but I really screwed up. One week, I got really sick with a sinus infection, and I remember telling a coworker that I needed them to cover me because I had to go to the doctor. And I believe that they understood what I said. But after I got back from the doctor, I got a very angry call from the boss saying the popcorn store wasn't open. And I told her that I told this employee to cover me, and the employee said that they didn't remember me mentioning that. And I got really mad, and I yelled at the other employee, and after that, they started to really hate me. The stress of being hated by my coworker, and just the unpaid overtime, and my boss just telling me I wasn't good enough, I wasn't polite enough to customers, I didn't smile enough, I needed to be happier, and I needed to be brighter. I ended up having a mental breakdown and leaving the popcorn store. After that, I tried other jobs and failing. I tried to work at a bookstore, Books A Million, but you were expected to sell magazine subscriptions. You weren't just expected to be a cashier and help customers find books. And I wasn't very comfortable selling the magazines because I saw them as a scam. They could be quite costly, You see how Books a Million worked is if you paid with a credit card, they would give you a piece of paper and say you could sign up for 3 magazine subscriptions. But the subscriptions weren't free, it was just a free trial. And then after the month was over, they would start charging you for the magazine subscriptions, and the subscriptions were rather costly. I believe they could cost you about $90 a year for 3 magazine subscriptions. A family actually came into the store and talked to me, begging me for help on how to cancel the magazine subscriptions. And I was really proud of myself that I could help them cancel it. I was able to help people. But the final straw working at Books a Million was I saw a coworker who she severely didn't like me. I don't know why. I guess maybe she just hated my face. But a Chinese couple came in with a baby, and the baby was being rather rambunctious, and he really wanted a toy he saw in the window. So his parents bought him the toy, and they came to the register to pay for the toy. And the employee tried talking to them in English, but they just shook their head, and they were like, it was obvious they couldn't speak or understand English very well. The mall I worked for was by an airport, so they were probably just visiting family here in America. And I saw her take their credit card and sign them up for magazine subscriptions that they did not pick. I wrote corporate and told them about what I saw. And after that, I put in my 2-week notice because I just didn't want to be part of a company that could be so terrible to customers and take advantage of them. They ended up firing me because that was easier than dealing with a 2-week notice. I was really sad to lose that job because I was excited to work at a bookstore. I enjoyed helping customers find books, and organizing books was fun, and I even found a bunch of books that I was interested in as a teenager, and I saw that the author had kept writing more, and I was excited to keep reading them. If it just hadn't been for those gosh darn magazine subscriptions, Books a Million wouldn't have been so bad. But I ended up leaving, I ended up being fired from them. And I remember the boss even told me I wasn't allowed back in the store because I dared to tell the truth about the magazine subscriptions. After that, I tried working other jobs, Tom Thumb, Kroger, other cashier jobs, but I just never really could fit in anywhere. I ended up having a panic attack at one job, and I had told my floor manager beforehand that if I had a seizure or if I had an episode, not to call the ambulance because ambulances are expensive. I listed my dad as my emergency contact, but she ended up calling the ambulance anyway. And at first I tried to send the ambulance away. It's like, I'm fine. I'm just gonna go home early. But they took my blood ox, and apparently my blood ox was really low, and they wouldn't let me leave the ambulance until they got it back up to normal. So I was getting paid minimum wage and had to pay for that ambulance. That was great. After just experiencing all that failure, Dr. Z said I might consider signing up for government assistance. And I just felt such deep shame because I thought if I could just find a good job, I can be an okay cashier. I enjoy helping customers when I can, and I'm not a complete social retarded. Not a complete social retard. I wanted to just have a normal job, just a small, quiet job. None of the jobs I had could really help afford an apartment, though, but I did try moving out of my house a couple of times, only for that to end terribly. And then there were all the romantic relationships I tried, where I just felt even more worthless. I lost my virginity in my early 20s, just kind of at a party, just with a guy I thought was kind of moderately attractive and the most normal of his group. It was, I guess, an okay first time. After that, I didn't really seek out dating again until a coworker back when I worked at the popcorn place told me I should sign up for OkCupid, and I met a guy on there, and he just kind of ruined relationships for me. He called me fat and ugly and made me feel like I wasn't worth anything. But for some weird reason, he wanted to impregnate me because he had a fetish for having sex with pregnant women. He was also a penis pumper. I think I've mentioned him on some old videos before. I ended my relationship with him and tried dating other guys, and I never really dated anyone I was attracted to. I just kind of would go out with guys who would accept me. I guess you could say I tried not to punch above my... I guess you could say I tried to stay in my lane when it came to dating. But the guys I met just made me feel not good about myself. One guy just kept calling me fat, and he was a big guy himself, so I told him we could maybe go to the gym together, that it would be a fun bonding experience. And he told me he was happy with his weight. He was happy being... I mean, he wasn't like severely obese, but he was, still pretty pudgy. And I left that relationship only to end up in a worse relationship. At least this guy didn't call me fat and ugly, but he was very adamant about trying to make me into a porn star. He said I would probably be good at porn, and he really wanted to have a girlfriend who's into cosplay and porn and being a Twitch hot tub streamer or whatever. I just didn't feel comfortable showing that much skin. I mean, I've taken risque pictures in the past, but just never full-on nudity. So, my love life always kind of ended in failures. I guess I'll talk more about my current situation. I kind of talked about my past and how my past was just disappointment and failure after failure.